this is a prototype of viewer-based gameplay breakdowns. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We're going to use my gameplay, and we have 3 targets in front of us, the 21, the 27, and Chippy in the Viggen, who I know has been playing a really long time and is a really good player. So who am I going to pick to fire at? Not Chippy, because I know he's going to be paying attention, and given the MiG-27's loadout, he's probably got R6EMs, he's probably got the 30 mil, he's going to want to head on my teammate, so I'm thinking he's probably not paying attention. Launch a missile at him. Unfortunately, does not hit. He does flare, he does see me, but he is flying in a straight line. Unfortunately, that's just the state of flares right now. Chippy and Copsy pretty much always flying together. I did manage to kill on Copsy, but it was nothing special. I came out of the clouds. I got a free shot on him. He didn't know I was there, so I didn't include it. There's nothing to learn from on that. So once again, just checking my 6, flaring around, and we have a pretty target-rich environment down there, and it is a 3 versus 3. But that's going to change pretty rapidly. People are going to start dying, and it ultimately comes down to a 2 versus 2. Try to get a shot onto the Viggen, but he does a good job at staying out of my nose, and as a result, I don't even get my guns on target. And there's also a MiG-21 kind of floating around by my teammate. This is a perfect time to get extra aggressive. I do notice that Chippy's still there. He's still dangerous, but this MiG-21 is a very prime target right now, and given that he's so slow, it's really hard to not take an opportunity like that because you might not get it again. Unfortunately, I completely choked the shot, but he doesn't seem to be paying attention to me really. He's very tunnel visioned, so I am going to dump all of my speed. I'm going to leave myself very vulnerable because I know that the Viggen has just flown past me. It's going to take him a second to turn around, and I want to get that BIS out of the way as quickly as possible because that Viggen is not going to be fun to fight with a MiG-21 BIS in the area. I'm going to take advantage of the Fear's insane acceleration and just fly in a straight line. I have a lot of energy I need to gain back after getting that shot into the BIS, and I'm pretty defenseless if I were to actually close the distance between me and this Viggen. So I'm kind of just climbing. I know I can outclimb the Viggen pretty handily even while starting at a lower energy state. Eventually I'm going to start losing him. However, at the same time, in hindsight, if I really wanted to try to kill him in the best possible way here, just accept the fact that I'm probably not going to do it alone, and the F5 would have been great help. I probably should have started turning a little bit earlier than I did because all I ended up doing is extend the distance between the Viggen and the F5, and it's going to take him longer to be able to come in and help me. So definitely should have probably turned around a little bit sooner there since I had plenty of energy by that point, but now we're just chasing the Viggen. He's overshot, he missed a shot, and he's just flying away. And looking at my fuel, I don't have much time left to stick around either, so I assume that's probably what he's doing, going back to base, so I'm going to go back to base as well, and I ask the F5 to follow me, and this is crucial here. The F5 actually does follow me. Had he not, it's very possible that the Viggen could have killed him in a 1 versus 1, and it would have just been best to preserve his life and stick with me so that we could keep the 2 versus 1 numbers advantage, and he did, so big play by the F5 there, using his brain. Well done to him. And now that we've taken off, we've refueled, I'm going up for altitude. The Viggen Chippy has popped a blind hunt order, and it is spotting my F5 teammate. So I want to go up to altitude, and that way I can get the maximum performance out of the Fear. I might be able to surprise him with the spotting system. He might not see me if I go up high enough, and the Fear has more than enough power to be successful at high altitude. I am kind of realizing though at this point that he's probably going to be going after the F5 since he's got the blind hunt. So I did turn around because I wanted to just kind of give the F5 overwatch from really high altitude and maybe surprise Chippy as he comes in to get that kill. Unfortunately, Chippy has climbed as well, and he's going very fast, and he has already seen me, so while my teammate is spotted, I am the primary target for him right now, and it is at this point I realize that he is behind me. And if I would have just stayed flying in a straight line for a couple seconds longer than I had, I wouldn't have been starting with him on my 6 o'clock. But we are going to take some evasive maneuvers here. We're going to do a very wide turn, try to keep the speed as high as we can, and he just switches targets because there's an F5 right below him. He gets a head-on missile shot. The F5 not too threatening in that kind of a position, but the F5 does a good job at evading. We see here from his perspective he's taken off and he wants to try to intercept the Viggen to get between me and the Viggen and therefore get him off of my 6. Great teammate thing to do. But unfortunately, the Viggen obviously saw him, and therefore he had to break off once that Sky Flash was shot. The F5C is not going to be doing a whole lot to a Viggen in a head-on jousting fight when it doesn't have any radar missiles, so he does a great job at evading at the right time. He's got plenty of speed, Mach 0.9 as the missile's flying towards him, and he's able to pull underneath that arc of the missile, and if it was going to hit him there, it would have to pull a very extreme arc the opposite direction, which is just not going to do. So he did a good job on that one, and that's kind of a textbook way to dodge a Sparrow and head on when it's launched in that kind of parameter. Lots of speed, a really hard pull as the missile's coming toward you, and as long as you have enough energy, you're probably going to be able to dodge it, as this F5 has clearly demonstrated. That's not to say that everything was done perfectly. We're 2 versus 1, and there's really no reason to be taking that head on as an F5C in the first place. He did manage to get out of it, he did do it pretty well, but it just really wasn't worth the risk. He didn't have a weapon that he could actually kill the Viggen with in a head-on, considering that Chippy has 2 Sky Flashes still, and he did end up using one on the F5. The F5 has to get in gun range, but you're not going to be doing that when there's a SAR missile coming straight at you. So once he saw the nose come around on him and he gets a lock, there was no reason for him to stick into the head-on any longer. In fact, right when I see the Viggen turn on me, I would have definitely just broken out of that. So I think he stayed into that a little bit too long. He risked it a little bit too long, but it did work out in the end, so nothing really to complain about there. Switching back over to me, I've still got Chippy on my 6 o'clock. This is back before he launches the head-on, by the way. We're kind of traveling back in time. This is when I first noticed him on my 6, and I start pulling a really wide turn, trying to conserve my energy, but also trying to change my position. He breaks off, he goes for the head-on with the F5 here, and that means that I can now come around, and I need to start pushing an offensive onto him. Somebody's got to be putting pressure on him. If we let him just shoot us the entire time, then he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. So I'm just going to start spamming AIM-9Gs at him because I've known Chippy for a really long I've known of Chippy for a really long time. I know he's a really good player. He's not going to die to my AIM-9Gs, so really I'm just trying to slow him down, which doesn't really work, but mainly I just want to get them off of my airframe because I know it's probably going to end up being a dogfight. If I am going to be turning and burning with him, which I'm thinking I will inevitably have to do at some point because he knows better than to die to a missile at top tier, then I am going to appreciate the drag and weight reduction by losing those missiles. Unfortunately, the F5 makes a critical mistake. You know how I said he stayed in the head-on a little too long last time, but it did end up working out? Well, this time it's just not going to work out because he stays in even longer to the point where there's just no escape. There's 2 big problems with what he's doing. The first one being, well, look at that speed. He doesn't even have a Mach reading right now. So the range that this missile was fired at, less than 2 kilometers, there's absolutely no way he's going to be kinetically defeating this missile. He's too slow and the missile is too close. So the only way he was going to survive this is to have either notched Chippy's pulse Doppler, which he would have been able to do much easier earlier on. At this point, Chippy's just too close. He's not going to have enough time to notch, or he would be pre-chaffing, but given that Chippy's in pulse Doppler, you're not going to be able to pre-chaff. So again, no reason to be taking this head-on as an F5C. There's nothing he can do, especially while having taken it that late and just sitting into it, and he ends up getting a Sparrow placed right on his back by Chippy's Viggen. So that's going to leave me 1 versus 1, which I wasn't excited about, but I really wasn't too uncomfortable with because the Viggen, great plane, but the Fear has the maneuverability over the Viggen, and while it does bleed energy a lot faster, which Chippy's going to be taking advantage of right now, considering I just turned around, I did bleed a lot of energy, so he's kind of going vertical. I'm doing a very shallow and slow turn to conserve energy as I go up. My engine power is what I was getting at. That is what I do have abundance of over the Viggen, so while I do bleed energy pretty hard, my engine can also carry me back into a more defensible speed. I do manage to climb up to meet him. He is going a little bit faster still, but that's not going to last too much longer, and he knows it's not going to last too much longer. His energy advantage is just ticking down, and he knows as well as I know that at some point here he's going to have to get into a knife fight, and as I said earlier, I'm trying to bleed off all of my missiles before we actually get into that knife fight. I have 1 left. I'm thinking maybe if I launch it close enough and give it enough lead that he's just not going to have time to react. react, but well, that was really wishful thinking because that obviously doesn't work. And so we get into that close range fight that I really have all of the cards on here, but he does a great job cutting throttle, and he's going to force an overshoot. I'm not too worried about that considering I am in a fear. It dumps energy at will and it can get it back at will. But I have overshot in front of his nose, so I have to be mindful about how I go about getting back behind his nose. So let's use our high-tech educational software. And the right move in this position I'm in right now would to be going upwards, kind of loop over the top of him and get enough distance around his nose to where I can debate whether I want to come back in and around, or I can just keep on flying and accelerate, gain some speed to reset. These red zones are no-no zones. I don't want to just continue climbing, and I don't want to go into a dive that's right in front of his nose, and he's going to have no problem getting his guns on target. It's very important that once you pick a maneuver, you commit to it. So fast forward to another key point, I have more options. I could either commit to this right hand turn and just keep on going around his nose to try to get behind it, or once again, I could just continue my turn and fly straight back toward the way we came, accelerate and run away from him so I can reset. I don't want to go anywhere to the left of him, or off of his right wing rather, because that would be reversing my turn. It would give him more time to line his guns up, and I will probably die. So fast forward to the final decision I have to make, and it's right here. These are the places I can't go. I can't reverse my turn. If I go anywhere back the way I came, once again, like I said, I'll just give him time to get guns on target and line up a shot. I need to either go fully around to the right and get some distance behind his nose to pull back in. From here, I could even go straight up and do a quick little loop and back down, dive and fly away the way we came, pick up some speed and reset. So my options pretty much look like this. Which one do you think I pick? That's right, I reversed my turn. Chippy gets a great shot in. It was a pleasure playing with you. Maybe next time I'll get you, but I hope you guys enjoyed this new format. If you do, let me know in the comments below, and maybe next time we'll be reviewing one of your gameplays. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you.